the students be healthier or better off, or the whole country maybe even, if the kids stayed in college and they weren't going back and forth. And like,
I mean, if you're going to do it, just do it. Just do it. So we're about to be live, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
Now, one of the schools did some modeling and they felt like the
I can't hear you.
oh, I haven't been saying anything.
Oh, okay, great. I was like, where did he go?
Well, I just heard my voice and it's so horrible, you know, when you hear your own voice.
You are not horrible. Stop it. So welcome everyone to another edition of Content is Queen, presents Leaders and Learners. And today we have an amazing leader. And one thing I do always appreciate about amazing leaders is they are lifetime learners, always learning something new, always upping their game with new skills, with new knowledge, education, and really just finding their path continuously, which allows them to be the leaders that they are. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Ms. Francie Jain, and she is going to let you know a little bit about herself. And then I got some really good questions for her because I think this is going to be good for you all. So welcome, Ms. Francie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure. And I love, thank you for saying I seem successful. My joke is like, success always is the kind of thing you say about somebody else. It's not like you speak about yourself, but yeah, so it's true. I have had a lot of sort of change in my life, and that was sort of one of the impetuses for starting my business. But I guess what brings us together is Terawatt, which is my business, which is a marketplace that makes career coaching more affordable. And we do group live classes on Zoom, actually. That's our technology platform. And so it's kind of like, Etsy or Airbnb, where we connect the two different sides and, we make it more affordable. And then if you decide, if you like that one coach and you did, the group class with them, then you can hire them, for one-on-one work if you want to take it higher. But right now, just to give you a sense of costs, it's like, I'd say the average coach is about $300 an hour for their time. But most coaches don't even want to be paid for an hour. They want to be paid for a significant chunk of time to work with you, like in depth, which is great. And that makes a lot of sense. And they kind of want commitment on your side. But the flip side is, how do you know if someone's a great coach? And just because someone was good for your friend doesn't mean it's good for you. Or what if you have no friends who have done coaching? So there's this whole issue of like, coaches are looking for clients and people are looking for help. And, how can we find this, like, thread the needle with everyone's needs? And so that's what I've been working on for the past few years. And yeah, and then it comes a little bit stems from like my ability to switch jobs a lot, because at one point I was like counseling a few people about switching jobs. And I was like, I don't get what's so scary. Like, just, come up with the reason why you want to do it and tell everyone and see where he will introduce you to whoever, and then you just figure it out. And
so with that, what made me laugh is you said, what if you have no friends? We do have people that really don't have a lot of friends, which also means they probably don't have a really big network, right? And we all know that your network is your net worth. So how are you able to, I would say, increase your net worth with what it is that you have going on right now? Terawatt, how do they help someone, up their game and increase their worth?
Oh gosh, I mean, here's the main thing. I mean, I could tell you 100 reasons why I think coaching is helpful for people, but the main one is, of course, your friends and family want to help you. Like, right? They love you. They want the best for you. They're not trained to like help you be strategic about your life, and that was like one of the epiphanies I had with my parents a bunch of years ago. But like, sometimes people react with like fear when you tell them a plan about change, or they bring all the other emotions in that have to do with them, that have nothing to do with you. And so maybe it reduces your confidence because you think, oh my goodness, like, I guess I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't I shouldn't do that thing because they're so nervous about it. I mean, they must know more than I know. No one knows more than anyone. I mean, they all like know the same amount. But I think that like that's happened to me in the past for sure, where I thought, oh, well, they must know a lot more than I do. And then I just stopped like talking to people, telling people about it. So I'd be like, I'm just gonna do this thing and I'll just like do it. And then when I'm really, really clear about it, then I'll tell other people and see if they can introduce me to other people. And anyway, but I think that's the main thing with coaching is that these are people who are trained to help you figure out a path, and whether that's, getting a promotion or switching careers, or maybe, it could be anything, getting out of a bad marriage, right? There's so many different things that like sometimes you just need to like listen to what you need and what you want to do and sort of do it just for you. And I think they're really good at that. And that's their, their life's work. And a lot of coaches also came into coaching from other areas.
Yeah.
So it's cool because they have expertise in other things. Some of the coaches on our website were psychologists, and some were teachers, and some were HR professionals. And now they kind of want to work with people and help them like be strategic about their futures and careers.
One of the things that I have learned is you can be good at something. It doesn't necessarily mean you can teach or coach that thing, right? So
100%.
in sports, you can be a great basketball player, but you might suck at coaching, right?
Right.
You might be an amazing attorney, but you might not be the best professor at USC, right? You just don't know how to communicate the essential parts to other people. It's a communication situation, right? How are you working with coaches to make sure that they are a good fit for your platform? Because I'm sure there's people that are going to be watching this that are coaches. How do they know I could be a good fit for her platform, or even that they're just good coaches, and until somebody
Yeah.
suck.
It's a really good, that's actually the number one question the coaches ask me is they say, well, I don't want to be on a platform with a bunch of like, charlatans. And I say, don't worry, me neither. So the main thing is they're all vetted, right? And so they all have to have their own content. So again, it's kind of like Airbnb or Etsy that way, where they bring their specialty to Terawatt and they teach it and they own their own content. And so part of the process is you have to, talk to me about what your content is and what your specialty is and what's your ideal client. And really the only thing that I really want is for someone to care about everyone getting better, right? Not just the people who can afford $500 an hour, right? They want to serve all their communities. And so like, yes, of course, they'd love to have high paying, great clients with like interesting problems, but also you can have, group class and make the same amount hourly. So for the coaches, it's both like, it's important for me because it's a reputation issue to have a good coach, but it's also other coaches wouldn't join if there weren't good coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like it would sort of prohibit good people from coming around. So the way I do that is I verify any kind of certificates or anything like that. And then I spend a lot of time with them because it's relatively small at this point. So there's still a lot of like one-on-one, and eventually we'll kind of figure out more of a way to automate it. But right now is really like me just saying like, yeah, you're a real person. And actually a lot of the time in the past, it's been word of mouth that I got introduced to coaches, and that's great. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like as long as I can spend some time with someone, they can show me like their slide deck or what they'd like to talk about or articles they've written, then I can kind of get a sense of their shtick. And even if their focus overlaps with someone else's, that's fine. Because like, again, if you go into Etsy, there are millions of different kinds of earrings, right? Like not one pair of earrings suits everyone. Or maybe one person just wants all the earrings. Like, even if like we have 5 coaches with leadership, they might want to take all the different leadership classes because it's different perspectives. And so I think, for me, I don't know, what I sort of pitch to coaches is really, we're just trying to connect you. And we have this group class, it's the technology and you don't have to do anything. And then those people could end up being your clients. And so that's why I really love this business, is because it's like a real problem solver for everyone. Mm-hmm. So individuals is just more affordable, which is great. And you get access to people you might not otherwise know. Like if you lived in like rural Iowa and you were getting connected to like a really cool LA coach, like when would that happen? it'd be very hard for you to connect with that person otherwise, or how to even find where you would go. And then, but if it's a coach, like they also need leads, right? So, but it's high quality leads. I mean, no one wants to have new clients who won't pay them or who aren't interested in doing hard work. And then the third group is that, like the HR groups. So you can have, like, there's a big focus right now in companies supporting the career development of their employees.
Yeah.
And so we're also, pitching to HR groups and saying we're a really affordable way to give coaching to your middle management and lower management. So it's a lot more affordable than paying the one-on-one coaching that you might pay for like the C-level.
Mm-hmm. Now I have to ask you, in this time that we're living in, how much does diversity and inclusion play in your business? And are you guys doing anything active to bring that conversation forward?
Yeah, a lot. It is a crazy time in this world, I have to say. I've been in at least 2 protests in the last 4 years. But the main thing is, yes, so this is kind of minor, but the most recent thing we did was we added to our website, the language and specifics that, we're against racist language and white supremacist language. And we do everything in our power to be inclusive. And that I was thrilled to, it was actually suggested by somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
a woman named Rachel Rogers, who she had like a town hall the other day, and I dialed and it was awesome. And it was like, I wanted to do this kind of stuff anyway. It was a little bit what she said, like I just wasn't sure where to start, what I should do. And so that's for number one, that's just on the website. And I think what I care a lot about is making sure that women everywhere are really involved and pulled into the fold. And so right now I have 2 college interns, mm-hmm. and they're both women, and they're one's an engineering major and the other one's a physics major. And I actually hired them because my school, my alma mater, reached out and said, we're looking for companies that want to take on, remote interns. And I had thought about doing an internship, but I hadn't really gotten organized about it. And I thought, oh my God, this is the perfect opportunity because I'm remote anyway. This is how I'd be very happy with this situation anyway. And so focusing on that, working with these guys, and it's been so much fun because like, I keep thinking they're like in their 30s, and they're like 20, they're 21, 22, and they're sweet. And they really know so much too. And I think that's the other thing about entrepreneurship is like, a lot of this isn't really, it can be taught, but a lot of it could also just be like thoughtfulness and diligence. And then the thing is, it's really important to me that the company represents looks like the way the world looks, or at least America, right? So that, I don't want to be all white women. I don't want to be all women. I don't want, I want it to be like all the different kinds of people there are, because to me, it always feels like things are stronger when all the different points of view, represented. And like, how many examples are there of people who just like miss something really basic because they're all the same, looking at the problem the same way? And I would just much rather have a strong company with like, great perspectives where I feel like, okay, we're really covering the right range of what people need and want, so that I know that when I'm going forward, I don't have this like Achilles heel, right? Like I love the whole thing with intersectionality, which is, when you solve for everyone's problems, then like it's good for everyone, and I think I believe in that so much, which is like, you see even now during the COVID time, it's like, people are so resistant to remote work, right? And it really impacted women a lot because of the childcare responsibilities.
Yes.
At 3 p.m. And so now if you can so now that everyone's more comfortable with it, maybe there'll be more flexibility with people who have childcare responsibilities, and maybe they can like leave early, work at night, or maybe they can Zoom in for meetings or whatever. And there could be more flexibility for things that you just can't change, like how is anyone supposed to change a 3 o'clock dismissal time?
I think a little humanity in just about every genre of professional life is a good thing. And right now we have come to a point where you can't really avoid it. You're either have a level of humanity or you're going to go stir crazy, because right now is the time when it calls for it, right? You have to understand that things aren't black and white. Things are shades of gray and lots of colors in between. So I think this moment has actually set us up to be better once we're out of this. Tell me a little bit more about your interns and others that you work with and your leadership style and how you're able to accomplish so many awesome things at this point.
Yeah, so I was really interested when you were like talking about that a little bit in our sort of lead up to this. When I look back on my career and just like academic career, work, everything, the happiest I ever am is when I'm given a problem to solve and told, okay, you work on this. Let me know if you have any problems. And it's you own this.
Mm-hmm. You own it.
Your thing, because if ever I'm given a problem where it's not like that, where someone's like, okay, here are the parameters, just figure this out, then okay, I'll figure that one thing out. But many times there'll be a problem because I assume the other person knew all the problems. So if I'm going to be in charge of something, then I need to like be in charge of everything, not be sort of confined to this small area, but yet be in charge of all the other potential pitfalls. And so I just believe that like the more you empower people to like learn on the job or be engaged and have ownership, I just think it's better for everyone. Like I'm not going to know everything about every single one thing. Like that would be crazy, very egotistical of me to think that like, oh, I'm telling the intern, like, don't do this, do this, do this, then get this done. Like, no, just like you tell me what you think. And if it sounds reasonable, then just go do it. Great. And I feel like, fine, you make mistakes. I also don't have this thing. I think there are a lot of people in the world have a thing about like making a mistake. And it's like this horrible thing. I'm sort of like, okay, I made a mistake. What can you do? And I feel like when you start a business, no one's ever done that business before. That's the whole reason you started it. So like you have to make mistakes. So I don't really know why people like worry about that stuff, but I love, having people like be engaged. That's really what I want.
Well, I think what you're saying is very empowering, and not everybody is capable of that due to control issues, fear of judgment. So if there is a mistake, they have a fear of judgment. That's usually why they won't allow mistakes to evolve in their business, because they're afraid of how it's going to make them look, not understanding the long-term benefits, which is you learn something, or you learn what doesn't work, or you give somebody an opportunity to grow in the organization. So yeah, you have the patience of a saint, clearly, because not many people can attest to that. They're too busy being a control freak.
Yeah, no, I mean, but like, but I also think that it goes in tandem with communication, right? So if you're communicating with someone and you're saying, okay, keep going, this is great, but then, come to me at the next like juncture and let's like talk about next steps. I mean, it's not like I'm sending someone off and being like, okay, go like do this whole brand new thing on your own, don't talk to me for 3 months. It's kind of like, let's just keep talking and like figuring out together, but you do it all. Like you're just bringing me the problems and I'm like coach player, right? Like, let's figure this out and how can we navigate, and like, is it helpful if you CC me, or what can I do to make it easier for you? And I don't know, I think that's easy. I also think that's easier personally. Like, I just hate thinking through logistics. Like my husband's really good at this, where he'll be like, well, if you do this and you do this, and then like these problems happen, oh God, I hate that. So I'll let the other person deal with the logistics and like thinking through the pitfalls, and then we'll just figure out the problems like as they come up.
But what you also said is very, it's a very respectable thing, which is knowing what you're good at and letting someone else do the parts that they are good at, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing, you're dissecting it and saying, I can do these parts, I got it. Or asking someone else, your husband, whoever, hey, can you take care of this or guide me through that? And again, that's a situation where many people feel like they lose control when they even have to acknowledge that they don't know everything. So, we're talking about leaders who are consistent learners. I think you
Yeah.
have to acknowledge you don't know everything and venture out to learn to be a better leader. So it sounds, how are your interns doing?
Oh, I love them. They're so great. I keep having fantasies about hiring them as soon as they graduate. Um, Meanwhile, it's like a startup, so we'll see. But no, I love them. And I really, I mean, they were great. I hired them because they were great people and like interesting. And I still feel that same way. And I think, and actually it was fun because there's what was it called? Project Aristotle or something that Google started.
Yeah, yep.
Was trying to figure out the best teams and how what tied them together. Like, we have all this data, all this, information. How can we figure out what creates the best team? And in the end, they couldn't figure out. Finally, it was psychological safety. And that people who feel comfortable saying, I'm worried about this, or this might not work, or I don't get it, or whatever, those are the best teams because all the problems got brought up so that people could tackle them. And it makes so much sense. And like when I think back in my work experience, when you're like on a team, when you can say like, I'm worried about this, and you can talk it through, like that's always a better solution than when you're like, well, I hope this is going to work, because there's probably other things you're missing too. By the way, if it's just that one thing I'm thinking of, everyone probably has a few things in their mind they're thinking of too. So I don't know. I think about that. And so I was trying to set up the internship that sort of reflected those ideas and like with reflect, so there's like a point where at the end of the week, they have to talk about what they worked on, what they're like frustrated by, what they learned, like what their next thing is, what they're curious about. And then on that Monday, we talk about it. And it's so interesting because it really like highlights for me also the arc of like learning a new skill a little bit. And then it creates a dialogue between the two of us. And it's a lot easier because it's all remote, right? I mean, I've never even met these people in person. And so it sort of gets a conversation going too. And everyone's so different, about how they sort of see the world. I really love it. And these guys are great. So
I'm glad to hear it. I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of you and what you have going on and keeping up with the company and all that good stuff. But for the people out there that are either interested in, let's say, becoming a coach on your platform or need coaching or just want to follow you because you're so dope, let them know how to stay in touch with you, get in touch with you, get involved in your platform, give the people all the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Our website is GoTerawatt, GO, and then TERAWATT.com. And I'm on Twitter. I think it's Francie51 is I'm so not good on Twitter. I'm really just a follower, and I do a lot of hearts, like I like pound the like button.
I do a lot of laugh face.
Yeah.
Laughing at everything.
I follow a lot of great people. So if you want to follow me and know what to like, that could be a good use of your time.
Watch what you ask for.
Yeah. And my email's all over the website too. Cause again, like I do think like that's how things get made better is by feedback. So definitely reach out to me. And one of the things we even say on our website is if you don't see what you want and it seems within this realm, like get in touch with me because maybe we'll build it. I think that's the thing also with entrepreneurship is I think if you hold too tightly to like this one vision you have, you might lose opportunities or you could, may not be as great as it could be. And so I think that you sort of take a kernel and like let it germinate and see what happens. And so that's what I'm just trying to do everywhere. But yeah, I'm everywhere. I mean, I'm on Instagram, but it's like a private thing. Again, I'm not good on Instagram. Like you can find me anywhere. You don't really want to follow me, but like the business stuff where.
Listen, I admire that you are constantly evolving, that you are open to learning new things. I love how you are empowering your staff, your interns, and those around you. I just think it's an amazing thing. And people could learn a lot from that. So, I implore you all, get in touch, follow good people, follow people that are still learning and leading and doing some amazing things. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to chat with our followers and listeners. And let's definitely keep in touch. And anything
I love to, Tanya. Thank you so much, lady. This was awesome.
Cool. And we'll keep in touch.
I'll be cuter. So I apologize, everyone.
You're silly. Anything that you need me to share on the platform too, let me know if you have events or anything that
Okay, yeah.
good for you know, individuals that are trying to grow their careers. Just let me know.
Yeah,
And
awesome. I for sure will let you know. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
sounds good. All right, guys. I'll see you soon for another edition of Content is Queen, presents Leaders and Learners. Thank you.